Los Angeles. So our challenge was to create a friendship block. So this is my block, and I've been told it's on the back of the book. And we used our new fabric, Belle Jardin, which is being released in January. And we made a couple different projects to show you, which the patterns are available on our blog. The first one is a little scrapbook that we made, and I made this in honor of Sandy Gervais, and I can't believe she's not here. But about 4 years ago when I started with Moda, she said to me, "How are you going to keep track of all your fabrics?" And I was like, "I'm just going to put them in a closet. I can do it." Well, 4 years later I realized you can't just put them in a closet. They just keep piling up. So what we started doing was making these little books, one for each collection, and they got a little knot here. We use the fabric on the front, and then on the inside we put felt sheets. We just pinking sheared felt sheets and sewed them in the book, and we put a scrap of each fabric. So since I'm learning to design quilts, this has been a great help for me, just kind of figuring it out, you know, light and dark and petite prints with the big prints. So that's a project. And then we've done 2 quilts. This is for Belle Jardin. This is our, as you can see, all my quilts tend to be a little small, so I can keep a handle on them. But this is our carpenter wheel quilt. And that's all basically 19th century reproduction French fabric. And then this fall in October, the French General Favorites was released. And it's a line of solids and, in addition, some of our best-selling prints. So this is my attempt at a modern quilt. And it's inspired by Bernd and Hella Becker, who were photographers in Europe in the 60s, and they used to go around France shooting all the timber framed homes. So that's the front, and then on the back I just did a really simple stripe. And those are my projects. So thank you. I hope you all have a great day.
Hi, I'm Barbara Grubbs.
Hi, Barb!
Oh, let's see if I can. And I'm Mary Jacobson.
Oh, Mary!
We're my sister designs, and we've been hanging around Coat Market for, we figure, about 20 years now.
Dang.
So we've been through a few rodeos. Yeah. This is our block this time. We were block number 19. I don't know what page it's on. If you notice, ours will be the only one in a frame. So we're the overachievers. Mary made these cute little table runners out of our block. The group is called Ticklish, and it ships to the stores in February. So if any of you need to order this, you've got to get your order in soon. We're celebrating a birthday this time. Our Juliet bag is 3 years old, and she's still selling strong, so we've remade her in all our new Ticklish fabrics. So you need to come by booth 353 and see the new Juliet samples. We also have new quilts, and since the group was called Ticklish, we went off on a Ticklish binge. This is T. The pattern is called T is for Ticklish. This is Big T. In the booth, you will see a great big quilt called Little T. And we did something fun this time. We put some embroidery in the borders. Oh, it's big running stitch colors in it. Just really cute. I really love it. The second quilt we have this time is called Vista.
We do layer cakes.
These are all pre-cut friendly.
And there's 2 patterns to each, 2 quilts to each pattern.
Yeah. This is Vista. This one comes in all layer cake friendly. And the second pattern that you get in that booklet is Vista 2.
So you get the pattern for the 2 quilts. And they both layer cake friendly.
So,
And Ticklish comes with you.
yeah, so the group's name is Ticklish. We're in booth 353. Come on by and see the block and see our frame. Thank you. Oh, this summer we were the most fortunate girls in the world. Moda sent us to Africa. And we attended the first ever quilt conference in Africa, and it was just such a wonderful experience. These ladies, they don't even know about batting. It was phenomenal. They were just like little sponges. Everything we said, they just loved hearing. We just had a wonderful time. We were just wonderful. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Deb Strain, and I'm kind of the non-quilter. I'm so sorry, I'm trying to learn. I really am. And my line is Seascapes. Okay, and my line is Seascapes, and my block is on the next to the last page in your booklet.
And it's somewhere in my suitcase, so it'll be at the booth.
Lisa made it for me. These are quilt patterns made by Barb from Coach House Designs. She's in booth number 361. She does a wonderful job with my fabrics and several other of the designers. But this is by the sea, and that's with the Seascapes line. This is Marina. Isn't that beautiful? Doesn't she do a good job? I'm really fortunate. I realize that. This is Waves. And just so you don't think I don't do anything, I brought my originals, and I'll have these in my booth so you can see how it looks when I paint it. So this is what I do. So by hand. I don't know how to work computers. So come see me in 349.
Hello. I'm Kathy Schmitz, and the name of my company is Kathy Schmitz. And this is the block that I got to design for our little project there, and it's right on the page next to Deb's, only it's different fabrics. And I was really excited when I got this fabric, and I thought, okay, what can I do with this block? And so I actually sewed, I think there's something else in that bag too, unless I left it at the booth. I made a table runner. And that turned out lots of fun. And then I took the panel, which evidently I left in the booth, and I made an apron and some pot holders and a little skillet holder, you know, for the cast iron ones. And then what I did while I was painting this line, because I had a lot of fun with the bright colors, and it was really great outside when I was painting it. And so every step of the way, I took a photograph. So the first line drawings took a picture, colored in part of it, took a picture. And then I put it all to music and put it on YouTube. So if you're kind of interested in seeing the whole step by step, there's a little QR code there that you can just scan and it will go to that. This pattern for the table runner and for the apron that's on the front, they're free patterns. Love for you to have them. And I have some of these bookmarks for everybody. I'll go ahead and pass them on back. So thank you very much.
Your little video was on our Facebook page just recently.
The little video was on their Facebook page. And Barb from Coach House, that wonderful gal who designed Deb's quilts, she also designed 2 quilts and a table runner out of this fabric too. And then I designed a quilt that Moda made for me. And so there's lots of options with this fabric. And it's nice and bright, and yet it still has that kind of primitive look to it, so it kind of crossover appeal. So thank you.
My name is Jane Patek, and whenever we do one of these things that they've got to get the whole design on one little page, I kind of look at them and go, but I do applique. I don't do little piecing. And especially if it's supposed to look like a signature block, which I thought should kind of look like something I do. So I took their drawing. See the little teensy tiny blocks in the corner? Yeah, and I had somebody make this for me. And then I appliqued a little house and grass and a teeny tiny window and door and embroidered my name on it. And if you'll come to my booth, if you want the pattern for the center, I hope it's coming in by UPS to my motel today, along with my brochures. So I will go ahead and give it to you. The fabric line is called Audra's Iris Garden, and it's named after my grandmother Laird, Audra Laird. who gave us some beautiful iris years ago that still bloom in my garden. She gave them to my mother, and then when we moved my mother up an hour north to Cameron where we live, we put it in the contract when we sold her house that we got to go dig up the iris. And we brought them up. My sister has some and I have some, and I'm going to give some to my children when they hopefully purchase their own houses sometime. This is a block of the month called Audra's Iris Garden that I made when I got the scans of the fabric. And it was really fun because most of the time my quilts have something to do with my life. And as I was doing it, I thought, why am I putting those cats in there? My grandma never had cats. And then I remembered that when my father died when I was 8, and we moved back to Kansas City and lived with my grandparents for a year while my mom's house was built. And they did have some kittens that lived in the garage, and I would smuggle them into the house. And they had big windows with storm windows on the outside, and I'd pull down the blinds and put the kitten in between the storm window and the window so nobody would see it. And I hadn't thought of that in years until I made the quilt and put cats in the quilt. So that's a block of the month made out of Audra's Iris Garden.
Your booth number?
My booth is 359. Yeah. It's either 359 or 356. I think it's 359. This is baskets and berries and birds, and it's kind of where I'm trying to get my quilt to go because there's one little pineapple, that's hospitality. That kind of stands for other people. The baskets stand for quilting, and always have. So you notice it's mostly baskets. So, come to my booth and I'll give you the pattern for the house.
Lori Simpson of Minick and Simpson.
And Polly Minick.
And our collection this time around is called Indigo Crossing. And this is a block we did. It's very honest, it's very simple. We do simple. So there it is.
We'd like to hear lots of oohs and ahs. Feel free at any time. You can interrupt them.
And this collection, we're known for Americana. We do a lot of red, white, and blue. We're not limited to that, but this one is all just blue and creams.
If you've ever seen my house, you'll know that I am all over this. That's a fast learner back there.
This is the game board quilt, and it is Polly made a rug, and I made this quilt, and it's a copy of an antique Farchese board.
It's so nice and good white. Much. This is our new thread.
We do have a thread collection with Orofill. It's 10 spools of thread. There's 5 blues and creams and neutrals, so it goes with Indigo Crossing. It also goes with
Every collection we've ever had.
Independence Trail, which you might have on your shelves right now. And have that. This quilt is called Antique Duvet. It's a copy of an old antique duvet cover.
Is it upside down? We're going on to the next one.
And this is called Indigo Revival. It's our applique quilt. And it's an adaptation of an antique quilt, and I sort of jazzed up the border. Birds and trees.
Our booth is 351.
We'll see you there. Thank you.
Hi, Lisa Bonji from Primitive Gatherings. And my new line is called Snowman Gatherings. So if you're from Wisconsin or up where we get a lot of snow, this will fit right in. If you're not and you wish you had some snow, I'm bringing it to you. Here's some designs out of the line. And for some reason, if you know me, I do a lot of dark tan and stuff like that. But on this line, I seem to gravitate more toward the lighter ones, which was kind of odd for me. But I wanted also, since I'm known for wool applique, I know a lot of you do not do wool applique, so I did the idea of the white work with that instead, so you can still buy this line and sell it in your shop with some white work. Okay, those are 2 runners, probably just called Snowball Runner. And then there's, in my booth, I didn't want to kind of rip the whole thing apart because I actually got here kind of late. And so I didn't want to do that to the lovely husband who put the booth together by himself. This is, believe it or not, a block of the month, but again, I didn't want to rip the booth down, so I made a mini of the block of the month. So the block of the month is really twice this size, so the blocks are 8 by 11, and these are 4 by 5.5. So you can do the block of the month size in your shop if you wish to do that, and don't forget that you also can do that white work, even though the pattern is still in wool. And then if you want the mini quilt, you can just buy the one pattern and just sell them the pattern that way instead of doing. So it's kind of an afterthought. Nobody knows about this quilt, right, guys? I kind of sprung it on you, right? Okay. But so those are two of the things. I have a couple other things in the booth that I'm doing also. But the signature block, I did my signature block here, and I think I'm the only one that signed the signature block. Were we not supposed to sign it? So this is my signature block featuring the Snowman gatherings. I also have a little bit of, just a little peek at what might else be coming in the line. I have not stitched any of this yet, but you know, can't resist a little snowman head here and there. So these are some of the things I'm still going to continue to work with this line. And what's cool about this line is some of the pieces from Old Glory fit right in this line. So there's a bunch of little basic prints also that have no snowman on them, and that can be wonderful basics for your shop. So my booth, I think, is 238, in between the 200 and 300 aisle. All right, come visit us.
Hello, my name is Aneela Hoey. I'm from the UK. I'm currently showing my 6th collection from Audra, which is called Posy. It's a very different looking collection for me, especially with colour. So we've used a lot of lilacs, violets, corals, completely different. This is my block. It's a very sweet looking collection. I've done florals for the first time. There's a text print, there's a stripe, there's lots of very simple, sweet print, very, very girly. I do have a quilt that I just handed in downstairs. I didn't realise I should have brought it up, but you can see it down in the Moda booth. And I happened to have this bag that I made. This is a couple of my favourite prints from the line that I think that really work very well together. This is the main signature print. The bag pattern is from a blog called Noodlehead. She has the pattern on her blog that you can purchase. She always does very, very good patterns. I completely recommend her patterns. And I also have my own blog, Comfort Stitching, at typepad.com.uk. I always do lots and lots of ideas on the blog for things you can make. There's quilts. I'm into making my own clothes and children's clothes, stockings. Lots and lots of ideas. So if you like the fabric, just visit the blog and you get ideas in the forthcoming months. The fabric line comes out in January. It's already on sale now. And is that it?
That's fantastic.
Okay.
Hi, I'm Kate Spain, and the new line that I'm showing this time is called Honey Honey. It might have been inspired a little bit by an ABBA song. So here's my signature block. And this line is really, it was inspired by the Seaside cottage gardens, and you know how they can just cram so many flowers in there, no matter what they do, they always look good. So they're really bright colors, some corals and aquas, periwinkle blue. And then I also designed a quilt that's down in the Moda booth. It's called Apiary, and it's available on the Moda website as a free download. And one of the things about the quilt is that there's an optional block that you can make. And I thought, well, if you didn't want to make the block for the quilt, you could maybe make it for a little table runner or table topper kind of thing. And then, of course, you'll be drinking your tea when you have your little table topper there, right? So I made these little hexagon coasters that Velcro right on to your little table topper, so they're ready whenever your tea is ready. And then they're, you know, they become a little bit part of the design. And then I don't know if this ever happens to you, but do you ever make yourself a nice hot cup of tea, and then you put it on the counter, and just when you're about to drink it, the doorbell rings. So you go to the door and gosh, it might be the kid next door who's selling magazine subscriptions or something. And then you decide, okay, gosh, I've got to pick a magazine. So you go through the list and there's good housekeeping. So you think, well, I'm a pretty good housekeeper, but maybe they have some tips and shortcuts and stuff, so I could learn something. So you go and you place your order there. And then you realize, my gosh, I have a load of laundry in the basement to put in the washing machine. So you go down there and there's no detergent. So you want to go back to the store and get some laundry detergent. And then you realize your car keys are sitting right next to that cup of tea that is now cold. So no more with that. Now you can make yourself a little beehive tea cozy. So you can fit it right over your tea mug, and the next time the doorbell rings, you'll be set. And I will be down there in the booth with Aneela, and I hope you'll come and visit us.
Hi, girls. You know, I never paint alone, so I brought some help with me. This market is all about Moda and being the color for your quilts, and we all did signature blocks. And when I started working on my signature block, I thought to myself, what is my signature for this market? What is going to be my look for this market? And this market for me is all about basket. And before I show you my block, I want to show you something that inspired me to focus on a signature and a block. A few months ago, I did a triangle exchange with 640 ladies from 28 countries. Over 250,000 of triangles were exchanged, and I finally finished my quilt and put it together.
Here, you want me to hold your painting?
Please.
Okay.
Thank you.
Wow. So this is the quilt that I put it together from all those different triangles. And notice this, even between the designers, we all exchange triangles, and I have me and my sister in it, and everybody bright, happy, my colors, fatigues, print, blue from Minick and Simpson, and everything fits beautifully together into one quilt. So I'm hoping that with this quilt and this market, you get to put your signature stamp on your quilts, invite your friends to do it with you, and leave your fingerprints on many different projects. And my block, since it's about basket, I did a tiny little 3-inch mini basket. And this pattern will be free pattern on my website with the pincushion patterns. I have a little spool, and this is my next one, so you can make a little pincushion 3-inch. So that's what I add to the center, and yes, I did sign it too. But that was not all that I have worked for market. This time my collection calls the paint box. Coincident. Let's paint the quilts. And with that collection, I prepare many different quilts to entice you and welcome you and invite you to play with it. Let's start with the most simple. What is the painter's petite Belle? Thank you, Marco. This quilt is made with a 60-degree triangle, and the rows are right here. You have your triangle, just flip up and down, and every second row has the handle on it. Super easy to play with it. You can make it bigger, you can make it smaller, less rows. And if you have some leftover of our silhouettes, maybe they can bloom from 1 or 2 of the baskets. So that's one of the quilts. Another quilt that I did is, actually the painter's palette is the next one. Since you're painting, you're gonna need a painter's palette, and that's our simple quilt with the 9 patches on it. And in this one, I have every single piece of fabric, super fun. There's a light 9 patches, dark 9 patches, just blending together, and again, you can make it as big, as small as you would like to. So actually I'm gonna double. When I come back home, I cut myself one of those quilts, but I have to double because we have a little bit bigger bed for Michael and me. I hope your baskets blossom with colors. And this is just a few of the quilts that I have waiting for you in my booth. with basket theme, paint box theme, and I'm hoping to inspire you that you will color and have fun with it. And again, we have silhouettes on left and right, the borders. Those are laser cut silhouettes. But I went this time even further to put a fingerprint in quilting industry, and I prepared for you something that is super special, and I'm so excited. As I was working on my quilt, I noticed that many times I want to add a little trim, a little something to my quilts. So I created lace for quilts. This calls laces. It's a one solid piece of lace. Some of them are square, some of them are rectangle. So this is an example of a square lacy. And it's a one solid piece. You just peel the the paper off, the fusible webbing is already on it, laser cut, and all that you do is get a square, fuse it down. You will not miss any leaves because they're all connected. And if you would, and I made this simpler quilt. So, for example, you have, I'm throwing stuff around already. This is like the center of the quilt. Those are the branches for oak leaves. And the borders are sections. So if you don't want this border here, you can swap it with this border. You can put this one here, go for a more simple one. So you can rotate this. You can do a bunch of half square triangle and add a beautiful border onto it. You can clip it anywhere you would like. If you want a longer or shorter, those sections repeat and hopefully will decorate your quilts. So this is something that I did, and as Michael is, thank you. And when you go back to that first triangle quilt, Michael, could you open that one more time? You notice that's another symbol of laces, just simple branches, something that you can edit to the simpler quilt. That's one piece, one solid piece of branches. Then we have swag, then we have another swag, and that's one of the collection of that new kind of lace for quilts. Something that you can add. You can do moa, you can do less, you can clip it anywhere you would like, decorate your quilt with it. We have a snowflake. I know, and I tell you what, it is. I also have something new coming out for you girls, and we're celebrating our anniversary, but maybe you want to make happy birthday signs, and those are again laser cut. So one cute little package, and this is not only for quilters, it's for anybody that like to do crafts. You can just fuse it and frame it, or you can stitch it around, enjoy it, and have fun with, especially kids love doing that because it's easy shapes and they learn how to spell things. So it's fun and exciting. Thank you for having me.
Hello. I'm Malka Dubrowsky, and this is my second collection for Moda. And my first Schoolhouse, and there are a lot of you people out there, but that's okay. My first collection was based on, I do a lot of hand dyeing. I teach classes in hand dyeing and batiking, wax resist, but in a more contemporary kind of way. Wax resist is a wonderful process to use to make really contemporary fabrics that can go into the modern quilts that we see all over quilt market and certainly in magazines and books, and I'm really excited to bring what I think is a very ancient process and contemporize it. So this is now my second line, and it's called Simple Matters, and one of my trademarks is color. I really like color. I think color really likes me too, and we've talked. And so a lot of my work focuses on bright colors and simple graphic shapes. I've written a couple books, one of which talks about how to make these patterns, and I like to use really very basic tools. Literally, most of the tools that I use to pattern my fabric you could get at the grocery store. And that's why actually I decided to call my second line Simple Matters. All the materials or all the tools that I use to make those patterns were things as simple as potato stamps, cardboard stamps, really basic materials that can make wonderful graphic prints. well, first of all, we were supposed to make some projects for this, and I did make a project, at least one project, and I'm wearing it, I'm just saying. So I also made a little sample quilt. I do a lot of designing, both for my own books. I've written a couple books, and for other people's books and magazines. Very contemporary kind of quilts, simple designs. I'm really into lots of improvisational stuff. But lately, I've put out several patterns that are focusing on what I call supersizing. And you can have a burger with that if you wanted to. But this is about supersizing blocks, taking a traditional block and really expanding it to huge proportions. And so this block, this is literally one block, okay? And it features, so it's literally one block. It probably measures about 38 by 38. And the idea is that it's just each part of the block is only made out of 3 template pieces. It's incredibly simple. It's all about featuring bold, bright, fresh colors. And these things go together obviously really quickly because there's not that many pieces. But it takes what is essentially it could be a pretty traditional block and contemporizes it quite a bit. And I'm really interested in that in terms of the fabric. I'm interested in that in terms of designing. So that's what I created, one of the projects I created with my fabric. And luckily I matched my fabric with my quilt's backing. Otherwise I wouldn't be here. So my block for the Moda block exchange, I don't honestly know what the block is called. It too is very simple. I gotta tell you, when I was putting this block together, I totally saw myself down the road making these like really, really big. I don't think I've cut little 2-inch squares in a long, long time. Take those 2-inch squares, take those 2-inch squares, thank you. Take those 2-inch squares and make them 14 by 14-inch squares. I mean, they could just really sing that way. I invite you to try out this block and all the blocks that are in the book, and to enjoy the fabric and enjoy your time here at Quilt Market. Thank you.
You can color me happy about this new line I have with Moda.
Love all the color that's happening this year.
Are you familiar with my magazine? Yes. And my 4th book, this really makes women happy. Glamping with Mary Jane. Glamping is the combination of glamour and camping. Women have taken back the outdoors, and it's on our terms now. We decorate with doilies, lace and burlap, canvas and glitz. So I've had years ago when I worked for the Forest Service in the 70s, the 80s, I lived in a wall tent. And back then, I was the first woman hired to do this job, and I was 27 miles from the end of a dirt road in the dead of winter. Once you get 5 feet of snow up the side of a wall tent, a big 14 by 16 canvas wall tent, you're warm as long as you have a wood fire, it insulates you. And it was definitely a man's world back then, and I was longing for something feminine. And I was alone. I ended up sleeping on pink foam curlers a couple times. I had the urge to paint my toenails red. I was hiding this urge to have some glam in my life. So now I finally can come out of the closet and do a lot of glamping. I have an Airstream trailer that I've refurbished, a Shasta that I'm doing with these bright colors, and a little teardrop trailer. We have a organization, about 5,000 women, dues-paying members, called the Farm Girl Sisterhood. And we earn merit badges. You should check it out, farmgirlsisterhood.org. I have a woman that spends 2 full days a week approving all the merit badges that we earn. And if you haven't ever made a dish drainer quilt, this is the handiest thing. Goodbye to that mineral-encrusted yucky thing that you have on your counter. Use a really thin batting, because if it's too thick, the cups will tip over, but have several of these, throw it in the washing machine. This is on my website, maryjanesfarm.org. Yeah, come to the booth because they brought in a trailer for me and it's adorable.
Off the plane and rush right over here. So I'm going to talk fast so I can get back to my booth and set it up so I'm ready for you tomorrow. I did 2 little blocks for my block. One, I started before I had my fabric because I got so excited and I put my little logo in the middle. And then when I got my fabric, I got to put a soap label. I have French fabric in your town. It's called Savonnerie, and that's a place where they make soap. And I've got a little sign for my booth. This is the project I did with my block. It's using all of my pin dots, and these are all the ones from Savonnerie. Strong colors and lots of fun. And it's lots of different things you can do with this simple block. Change the lights and darks around, add pieces or take them away, so you can have great fun ad-libbing with that. I made a shower curtain out of my soap labels, so I want you to come see that. And I've got a basket of soap wrapped in fabric and paper fabric that looks like fabric, soap bars. So I want you to come see it and have a good time and feel like you have a little trip to France. I've got 9 new patterns too, so come see. Good, and I'm going to go set up.
Hello, my name is Brigitte Heidland. I'm from Zen Chic and I'm from Germany, and I'm always very nervous speaking in front of such a crowd, afraid doing 1,000 mistakes. So be patient with me. Lately I bought a tablet PC, and I benefit a lot from this, just making pictures and then click the button send or making some notes on it and so on. And then I think every one of you who has electronic toy like an iPhone or something like that know from what I'm speaking now. And I thought by myself, well, when I'm benefiting from this technical world, perhaps we quilter can give something where the techniques are benefiting from. These guys walking all day around in this black and white and chrome environment, working with barcodes, figures, numbers, and so on. And so I developed a line called Comma, mostly in white, black, gray, a splash of color, and barcodes, numbers, figures, and so on. And then when Lisa sent out a mail with all the blocks, with the signature blocks, and that suggested we should make a project out of this block, then I had an idea, and I made this quilt over here for the technical world to show what we have to offer. Comfort, style, something special, something unique. And then this is my little block. It's just a copy, and you will find yours as the 6th block of your booklet. And then when I hang out this quilt to make a photograph, and then my 22-year-old son stopped by, he said, "Oh, cool! Can I have this quilt after the show?" And I thought by myself, well, I have done something right now. So now, I have a daughter also. What to do for her? Something cool. She's a girl who likes to have fun and to dance around and have CDs. And then I developed this quilt which shows records on it. It's called Dance With Me. It's an applique quilt, and Orifil is offering a special thread assortment with 6 different colors to match this fabric line. And you will find 4 more cool quilts on booths 4, 5, 6.
What was the number?
4, 5, 6. Okay, thank you.
Hi, I'm Lisa from Sweetwater. This is my mom, Carla. My sister, Susan, isn't here again. But she is working at home, so we'll give her a pass. Our new collection this time is called Noteworthy, and I've probably stood up here and said this before, but really, I'm serious this time. This is my favorite one that we've done, and I'm sure it's not hers, but it's my favorite, so I'm really happy this time. Noteworthy was inspired by, you know how when you were in high school or college and you sat and you doodled things on your notebook. I'm sure if you're really bored now, you might be doing it at this moment. Just think that could be a fabric collection. So that's what this collection is inspired by. And we have 4 new patterns. We only brought 1 because we didn't want to take the booth down and hang it up again. And we fought about that, but I lost. So we only have 1. This one was made with fat quarters and it has an uneven edge. And we have 3 more patterns. Our booth number is 638. And this is our block. So hope you come by and see us.
I'm going to show you my block first because I've been holding it so long back there, standing in line. It's getting wrinkled. Just picture this ironed. And this is actually made on my newest fabric line, which is called Jubilee. And if you look closely, you're going to see bunnies, happy ones, jumping all around this little medallion, this damask. We have a new color in the line. It's mauve or lavender, and it comes in a couple of different shades. Plus, we have 2 shades of gray and 2 shades of pink and this wonderful French blue. So it's really a happy line. And see that I've made an autograph dog out of the liner pink. This is Chloe. She's one of our newest patterns. And what I've been doing is going around having all the designers sign it, and I'm going to give her away on our blog. But she's a real simple pattern. If you've used any of my animal patterns before, you know they're just like 2 sides. There's your back. And then we have one more animal pattern, which is one of the petite patterns. This is also made out of Jubilee. This is in the darker pink. And this is Tiffany the pig. Fun to make. She has a little curly tail, and she's one of the little petite patterns that sells for like $5.99. And they sell really well for us, so hopefully they do for you guys too. Okay, then last but not least, we have a new block of the month. And what I did was I took the line Jubilee, combined it with a lot of Moda's basics, and made an Easter quilt this time. So something for spring, something that's happy, and filled with a few bunnies, but mainly chicks. So Chick Jubilee is the name of the new block of the month. Something a little different for us. And we've used Jubilee, the lighter gray on the border. And lots of the Moda basics. You shouldn't have any trouble getting this fabric if you order this line now. And it's a fun one. It's got some really fun applique to do. I'm hoping that your customers will like it. Thank you.
Well, they saved the best for last. Thank you. I'm Lynn with Kansas Troubles. And I have not gone stark raving crazy, but I did make a quilt out of Barb and Mary's fabric, which will make it a little crazy. Here, show the big one. Oh, first. Our loose change book is done. It's in the booth. We are so delighted. And just to prove that you can use my layered patchwork technique with something other than dark and dirty, we did this. If you do not embrace the pre-cut, please start. This is a layer cake with a charm square stone in a corner and a mini charm square stone on that, and 4 of them put together. Duh. But this quilt is a wonderful toddler-sized quilt. I have 2 granddaughters who are fighting over it. Under 60 bucks. If you cut the little squares out behind the charm square and the mini charm, after you have top stitched them, you get a doll quilt to match. This is is just 2 of the 18 projects in the loose change book, and it retails for 20 bucks. So it is a really good deal. Not only have I embraced layer cakes, charms, and mini charms, but Moda has a brand new pre-cut. This is a dessert roll. I've had a dessert roll in the past, but it was mainly just the tonals to add to a quilt. This is actually 20 of the 40 prints, 5 inches by the width of fabric. It's just a wonderful collection, a mini collection of line called Pheasant Hill. And if you show the pillow first, I didn't bring my quilt either because I was too lazy to take the quilt, the booth part. But this is actually one block. Again, embrace the raw edge. If you take a strip of fabric and 2 squares of the dark, you can either add 1 tan triangle that has been cut so the edges are on the bias and stitch it on to make it look like a star, or you can take the same strip and 2 squares and sew 2 little triangles to make the opposite block. So there's a lap quilt like this, there's a runner, you get both of them out of a dessert roll and a couple of fabrics, and then we played with the scraps too. I love this line because it has a border print in it, and because I made this Monday night before I came, it's not quilted yet. But that's the large version of the star.
So this basically, look how neat her back is. Awesome. And that's because that's of your...
It's one, yeah, it's like 3 big chunks makes that star, and everything else. With the layered patchwork technique, come by, I've got blocks that are kind of broken down and exploded so I can show you. Because you are laying a piece of fabric on top of a background rectangular square, even for your beginner quilters, their blocks aren't going to be all wonky. They will be perfectly square and straight because they're basically adding to the top of a perfectly straight, square piece of fabric. And the ladies that I have taught classes for are delighted. Now, if you really, really just want to utilize this 5-inch strip, I did the simplest thing I could think of. I cut a 1-inch strip off of one side and used the other 4 inches, laid it on the floor, just randomly stitched them one on top of each other. So these are all the raw pinked edges. Embrace the pinked edge, ladies. This is 1 dessert roll and 1 fabric. How easy is that to kit? Super, super fast and easy. They get an assortment of the fabric. You buy 1 for the borders and you're done. Took me 2.5 hours to make this quilt. And I was not real worried about how wonky the stripes came out. I was kind of concerned at one point, and then I thought, why am I doing this? So it goes way faster if you're not concerned about it being straight. Again, this just got done the other night. I haven't finished binding it yet. Watch out for the needle. Here is a bag that I did also using some leftover parts and pieces. If you run out of pre-cuts, which I hope you do because everybody is so crazy about them, you can always use a pinked or scalloped edge rotary cutter to cut your own strips because that's what keeps them from unraveling. So this is just a few leftover pieces, a little bag, but I usually like to carry mine over my shoulder, but most of my friends want a shorter handle. My buttonholes are brand new, so they're tight. So I made it so you can double this up, button it on this side, and have a double handle so you can have 2 bags in one. Oh, this is my block. And again, it's 4 patches. That's all it is. You can't mess up 4 patches. I love whoever created the flip and sew connecting corners, but even that's too much work, okay? So you just do 4 patches. You cut a matching piece of fabric on the bias, so the square is, all the 4 sides are on the bias, and just stitch it in the middle to make your 4 patch. I did not sign mine yet because I didn't have a good pen, so I will steal a pen and sign my block. Everybody come over. I'm next to a Dita. You probably won't notice us much. We're right next to a Dita at 544.